Last night we introduced you to two transgender adults who are in the process of forging new identities as the opposite gender from which they were born.
Both say they knew from a very young age that they were different. Tonight we speak to families dealing with this very issue, children who say they were born in the wrong bodies.
So imagine, Linda, you bring home a baby girl and one day she announces she's a boy. Or you bring home a boy from the hospital and suddenly, as soon as he can talk, he tells you he's a girl. Well, even for the most loving families, this can be a big struggle, trying to understand, support your child, and perhaps most importantly, keep them from getting depressed or being bullied. Tonight, we share these difficult journeys of two families.
14-year-old Vanessa LOCKLEAR came into the world as a boy, but is now living as a girl.
It's how I was born, and it may not seem that way, but it is.
The Carey teen documented her transition and shared information about being transgender in a YouTube video.
The biggest thing you really need throughout this transition is a good support system.
And she found that support system in her mother.
Because they think that they don't belong in their body, but nobody can understand.
Vanessa shared her feelings with her parents about a year and a half ago.
At first, honestly, to say I thought it was a phase.
This is exactly what Tony Howard thought when his little girl wanted to play with G.I. Joe dolls and dress like a boy.
At that point, I just thought, oh, my daughter's a tomboy.
But eventually, Howard's little girl told him at 10 years old she was a boy. He's now 14.
How did you handle that?
I took it well from the start because my main concern is just my kid to be happy.
Families have to go through a grieving process. They brought that child home, it looked like a boy or it looked like a girl, and nobody ever said that gender was something that could change.
Therapist KIMBALL Sargent works with both of these families. Her youngest transgender patient, 4 years old.
From what I've seen, the earlier the child comes out and says that the gender is wrong, the more likely it is that they're going to transition.
We went through a little rough path, but after that, she kind of sort of stood up for herself and say, I am who I am. Either you accept it or you don't.
Sargent helps families process the complexities of raising a transgender child.
You have to listen to the child because that child is speaking the truth about how they feel.
And it's not just about feelings. It's also about how these children are treated at school.
Most of the schools that I have been involved with have been very supportive of their transgender students. And most students are pretty supportive.
I'll do whatever it takes to make sure Vanessa is feel support, feel loved, and most of all, feel safe.
And so now you had a little girl.
Right.
And now you have a teenage boy.
Yep.
And it sounds like you're okay with that.
I'm definitely okay with it.
A lot of people say, there's different ways to handle it. Well, this is the only way I know how to make Vanessa happy.
Now, Sargent tells us most physicians will wait for a child to go through puberty before determining if he or she is serious about changing genders. Both of the teens in our story are undergoing hormone therapy, and they do hope to have surgery someday with the support of their families. Linda, Gerald.
Brings a lot of communication to the table for this. Amanda Lamb, thank you.